Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Give us a shout out at your name, where you're from, in the comments, and I'll shout out back, inshallah. Let me know how you all are today. Me, I have a cold, so you have to excuse me. Inshallah, it'll be fine, and I won't have a massive coughing fit in whilst I'm telling you these great stories from the last week, inshallah. So give us a shout out, tell me where you're from, and then in a few minutes we'll begin. I am Sister Nicola. Last week was Sister Tammy. We'll alternate every week with all of this. So Sister Tammy today, she's giving you all the links to the stories in the comments, and she's moderating, and I'm the one telling you, and next week we'll switch roles and so on. So it'll be like this each time we do it, inshallah. So tell me where you're all from. As you can tell, I'm English. And then we can start. Assalamu alaikum, Andrew. Oh, you're in America, mashallah. Have you been hit by the snow over there? We heard terrible stories about the very cold front over there happening this winter, inshallah. All is well. Okay, so let's start. So the first story of the week is actually something that's happening this month in the UK. Of course, I chose a British story because I'm from there, so I'm a little bit biased. But it's a very good initiative from the Muslim Council of Britain. They have organised a Visit My Mosque Day, and they've done this in the past. But this year, even more mosques are participating. Around 200 mosques in the UK will be participating in Visit My Mosque Day in all around the UK, inshallah. So they're inviting people from all different backgrounds, different faiths, whatever you want to say. And they're going to invite them for tea and biscuits as a great initiative to build better relationships with the communities and dispel misconceptions about British Muslims. Because last year, and every year really in the news, we hear too many bad stories, and it's our job to show them what real Islam is all about and what real Muslims are all about, and stop this fear and all of this. So it's a really great initiative from the Muslim Council of Britain. So if you're in the UK and your mosque is participating, see if you can go, or even if you can help out on this day. It's on February the 18th. So I think it's next week or the week after. So go ahead and support your mosque if they're participating in this, because I think it's a brilliant initiative, mashallah. Andrew, no snow today, 50 degrees Fahrenheit. We do it in degrees Celsius, Andrew, so I have no idea I assume that's very cold. I don't know, sorry. We do it the opposite to you. The next story is from Canada. A local church in Ontario, Canada, called St. Thomas's Church, cleared a room out to host Muslim prayer on a Friday. Now, this is brilliant. This is great when faiths work so close together to help each other out. And it's a great way to integrate and to understand each other, get a mutual understanding of each other, inshallah. So there was a lady called Faruqi, and she noticed that the local mosque is quite far away. And on Fridays, it's difficult to get there, especially with the limitation of the lunch hour. And also in winter, obviously in Canada, it's very, very cold. So it can be dangerous conditions on the road. So she asked a church board member called Nancy Lovelock if they could use and rent a spare room in their church. Well, Nancy very generously said, "Why would you pay to pray? and they're not using this room, so they cleared out the room, and they decided to let these Muslims pray in the mosque every Friday, so they don't have to travel too far. And I just think this is great interfaith relations, builds better relationship between the two. It helps each other get to know each other, a bit of understanding, and it's very neighbourly. So God bless those people who've done this to help out the Muslims in this town in Ontario in Canada. It's a very good initiative. Just reading Andrew's comment. He thought there is a story here in America where some kids vandalized a mosque and was caught and put in jail, and he couldn't pay the fines. The imam came forth and paid the fines and said if he knew who we were, we wouldn't have done this. So it's a great initiative for the UK Muslims to hold an open mosque day. If your neighbours know you, they won't act the way the kid did. That's really true. It's really true, because you know yourselves how you are. You're not like the media likes to portray us. And I just think if more people understood, and we're just people. We just want to get on with our lives. There's no secret about hidden secret or hidden agenda like so many people think. So yes, it is a good initiative, and it is a great way to let people know who we are. The next story actually comes from our Reading Islam section. If you check our website www.aboutislam.net, you will see many stories, many sections on there. Reading Islam is usually focused on new Muslims or people interested in Islam, and they're trying to fight the misconceptions that we face. But sometimes they go into detail of some stories from the Quran and the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And one of my favourite stories of the week, and one of my favourite surahs in the Quran, is actually Surah Yusuf, or Prophet Joseph, peace be upon him. It is told in one chapter that from beginning to end, unlike others that you might find the bits in this chapter, bits in there. And we learn all about his life, and there are 4 very important lessons that we can learn from his life. And I'll just go briefly into it. You can click onto the link that Sister Tammy is going to put up for you, and you can read it in more detail. But the first is jealousy. As you all probably aware, his brothers were so jealous of his relationship with his father that they obviously took him off to try and kill him and left him in a well. And it just warns us really how dangerous jealousy is. And even Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that jealousy eats you, and it will eat away your good deeds. So it's something that we really have to try our best to stay away from as much as we can. The next lesson that we learn from this fantastic surah is patience. Now, Islam is always telling us about patience, and it's a running theme throughout the Quran actually. But this is it's a really important lesson, and the fact that Prophet Jacob, Prophet Joseph's father, showed enormous patience when his son had gone missing. He didn't know where he was, but he accepted what had happened. He accepted what Allah had decreed for him, and he had faith and hope, and he never lost that. And it's really beautiful, and a strong man or woman, if you are, to have that kind of patience. But it really is a good example of how we should practice patience. The next thing is instinct. It's a huge blessing from Allah to have intuition, or good instinct, as we say. So you should follow it. And Prophet Jacob knew there was something not right when his sons came back and told him about the story of the wolf getting Prophet Joseph. He knew that there was something wrong with this story. His gut told him. So, brothers and sisters, if you're in a situation, for example, you're looking for a spouse, and you met someone, but you feel there's something not quite right, it's usually your gut, and you should listen to it, because usually it's right. And this is a blessing from Allah. This is the way that Allah is telling us that, there's something not right in this situation. So usually when you follow it, you're normally right. It's not very often your gut instinct will let you down, and this is a perfect example. And the last beautiful lesson that we can learn from this beautiful story is trust in Allah, no matter what you are going through. All the trials and tribulations that Prophet Yusuf went through in his life, when he was in prison, when the other prisoner forgot to tell the king about him, so he was left in prison. When this lady was trying to seduce him, all these things, he's shown great trust in Allah, that Allah will get him out of these situations and will help him. And the same for his father. When his father knew that Prophet Yusuf had disappeared, he had such trust in Allah. And it's a really powerful lesson to us all that we should all try and emulate as much as possible. MashaAllah, it's difficult, I know, especially when you're going through some really hard times. It can be really difficult to keep that trust and faith. And it is a test. And this is, I think sometimes this is one of the biggest points of life, is having trust and faith in Allah to get you through. And one of my favorite quotes that you'll see all over Islamic quotes if you search for them is, if Allah has put you in it, Allah will get you through it, something like that. But I love that quote because it's so true. If he's put you in that place, he's going to get you out that place. So you have to have faith and you have to have trust. And that story shows you about that great trust. So give it a check out. It really is a beautiful article, and it is one of my favorite surahs. I think it's a beautiful surah in the Quran. The next article that we have is all about Quebec in Canada. I told you not last week, the week before, that the Canadian Muslims, mashallah, they're really strong and they're fantastic in helping out their local communities. And the US Muslims, actually, I have to say. We get so many stories about how they come together and they're helping out at towns like this. And as I just mentioned earlier to Brother Andrew, who's in the US, there is a very cold winter hitting all of North America right now. And Canada, of course, has been hit by this. So they're experiencing very extreme cold conditions. So a Muslim charity, quite well known actually, called Islamic Relief, but in Canada, they are distributing winter clothes to the homelessness people in Montreal and Quebec City. And, you know, they've made up these little winter kits, like survival kits, to help them out. And they're going to distribute around 500 of these kits in certain shelters and things. And they also have served more than 600 people in January alone with hot meals, you know, because these temperatures that these places are feeling right now is it can kill them. If you're living on the street and you have no shelter, this is life-threatening. So may Allah bless the Muslims who are really taking care of the people who are living on the streets. And I know a lot of people ask us, because we did a fantastic video last week. If you go onto our YouTube channel, you will see Muslims give rare warmth to homeless. It's a video that we produced. If you go on there and have a look, it tells you about the different initiatives that Muslims all over the West are doing to help the homeless in the West. Now, we had lots of comments saying, why aren't you helping the people in Syria, in Yemen, in Bangladesh, the camps, of course, who are helping Rohingya refugees? Well, we are, and every other day, so the next post will be tomorrow at 10:33 GMT at night, PM. We highlight the winter refugee campaign. We highlight it by telling you which charities you can donate to help these people who are suffering in the camps right now, because of course it must be terrible for them. So yes, you can help these refugees, and yes, we are doing our bit to help these as well. So we're just trying to show you what Muslims are doing all over the world, though. So we are trying to cover everything, but it's a really impressive task when people are helping their neighbours, no matter where they are, and also, of course, our brothers and sisters who are facing such terrible times and difficulties in the world. So may Allah bless everyone who's donating and who's helping, and you know, it's admirable, Allah. Yes, Andrew. I think my colleague, Sister Tammy, already told you. Yes, every Monday we do short live videos discussing positive stories from the previous week. The ones that we select ourselves that, you know, stood out to us. So join us every Monday around the same time. It's 5:15 Mecca time, 2:15 GMT. I'm not quite sure that time in America right now. And we select so many stories for you to just to discover that you may have missed, and to highlight the good, positive news that Muslims are doing, instead of this dreary news that we hear all the time. It's our way of bringing to the world what Muslims are doing all over the world. The next story is also a fantastic story, again, of helping homeless people where they are living right now. It's slightly different. These are two Iraqi refugees. They're currently waiting for asylum to be granted to them in Vienna in Austria. And whilst they're waiting, they're not idling away the hours. They're getting stuck in. They are volunteering with Austria's biggest and oldest food bank called Wiener Tafel, or Vienna Table. And they are helping to feed the poor of Vienna in Austria. Now, not just the people of Vienna, not just the homeless, not just the Austrian homeless, but also refugees who have gone there and who are not quite as lucky as Ali and Roz. They're the two men, and they are unfortunately living on the streets. They've gone to a better place and found themselves living on the streets. So Vienna Table is actually doing two great things. First of all, they go around collecting all the food that may be thrown out, but it's good to eat. And then they collect this food and they are distributing it out amongst the homeless, which I think is a fantastic idea, because we've seen so many news reports of how many billions of pounds or dollars are being wasted on food that is still edible and that can still be eaten. So I think this is a terrific idea. And they are volunteering there whilst they wait to see if their asylum is accepted or not. And this food is actually being delivered to almost 200,000 people in shelters and homes that are run by different charities in Austria. So, I mean, that's really paying it forward, as you say. You know, they went to Austria to get a better life, and this is somehow their thanks to the people who've welcomed them there. And inshallah, they'll get their asylum granted, and inshallah, they'll be blessed for helping these people without anything, mashallah. And the last story this really stood out to me last week, and I thought it was, I just thought that it was just really different. So when you think of birds, you think that they are not actually that smart, okay? And we have the insult, bird brain, you know. But there is one bird that recent research has proved is very smart, but as usual, this was already written in the Quran way before this research was even found. Do you know what bird it is? If you know, write it and see. But I'm going to read, but if you know it, write it quick. So here it is from the Quran. The selfish soul of the other led him to the murder of his brother. He murdered him and became himself one of the lost ones. Then Allah sent a raven who scratched the ground to show him how to hide the shame of his brother. Woe is me, said he. Was I not even able to be as this raven and to hide the shame of my brother? Then he became full of regrets. And that's Quran chapter 5, verses 30 to 31. So this is a really interesting article about how research has proven how extremely intelligent the raven is. But we should have already known that because it was written in the Quran. And it was, of course, relating to Cain and Abel. So you can check that in the Quran, and you can check our fantastic story about it as well. And the link's coming up soon. Now we have some exciting news. Many people ask us, do you have WhatsApp? We want to join a group on WhatsApp. No, we don't have WhatsApp, but we do have Telegram, which is similar. So Sister Tammy is going to put you a link, and you go and subscribe to that link, and we will every so often send out one of our posts from our website, and you can get your information there. So we are trying to expand, and we're trying to come into, the modern social media trends, and messaging apps is one. So we decided to get an account open on Telegram. So go ahead and subscribe, and we're waiting to see you there as well. Of course, you can also join us on Facebook, which most of you are, I assume, watching, obviously. And we have a Twitter account, Pinterest, Google+, Instagram, as well as our very own YouTube channel. So there's many ways that you can follow us. And now we have Telegram. So we hope to see you on Telegram, inshallah. We're trying to spread. So please help us, because we have the best followers. I have to say that. And I mean it as well. So, and another thing that you all ought to keep an eye out this month in February. February is Black History Month in the US, in Canada, I think, and the UK. So we shall be featuring many stories this month on inspirational Black Muslims to celebrate Black History Month. So keep in touch with us and check out those stories and share them as you like, because there's some fantastic stories. Of course, we all know about Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X, but there will be others, I'm sure. So keep following us. And that's all for today. So next week will be Sister Tammy, and I'll be the one putting all the links. I wish you all a very, very good afternoon or evening or morning, even, depending where you're from. And I'll see you soon, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.